Greetings and salutations and all that good stuff. It's Tim Werner, and I want to give you a lesson on Microsoft Copilot in Azure, which is in public preview as of this recording on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. I will link to this page in the YouTube description. Maybe Microsoft Copilot in Azure will be fully baked or in generally available status by the time you're watching this video. Who knows? But anyway, assuming that you have a Microsoft Azure subscription, you can get on the list. It took Microsoft about 2 weeks, I'd say, in my case, for me to be approved for the public preview. As a quick note, when you see preview, that tag after a Microsoft Azure project or product, rather, or even feature, that means that unless otherwise specified by Microsoft, there's no service level agreement, there's no support as such. Again, that's going to be easily overridden by the engineering team, so you should always stay in touch with the Microsoft blogs, the Azure team blogs. Anyway, enough about all this. Let's say that you've got an Azure subscription, you signed up for the public preview. What does it actually look like? What does it actually do? How much does it cost would probably be your second question. Let me answer that right now before I forget. If I scroll down the marketing page here, down to the FAQs, it's mentioned. Let's see, and some data collection stuff as well. Anyway, the bottom line is that it's free during the public preview. I'm not sure how the cost will be implemented. I think it would be a foregone conclusion that it'll be part of your Azure spend. But other than that, it's free, so take advantage of it. And I literally was surprised this morning, as a matter of fact, when I signed into the Azure portal. I've been waiting for the Copilot button for the last few days. I'd been approved for several days, but I wasn't seeing any updates in the portal UI, and today here we are. So let's click the Copilot button and see what happens. Now you'll note that the UI is super spare, and that's fine. We've got a 500 character input limit here. We've got just a submit control, no upload, no take a picture, no audio stream. Again, preview. Up here in the pane context menu, we can open up a new chat, and then we've got clickouts here for docs, terms of use, and privacy. Again, lean and mean, not too bad. And what I liked, and tell me what you think, these suggestions are legitimately helpful. I mean, for example, I want to retrieve virtual machines matched by a regular expression pattern. Let's try that one. Now, under the hood, what's happening is we have an HTTP request going to the Microsoft Copilot in Azure endpoint, where we're going to connect at this point to what I can presume is an off-the-shelf GPT model. Just like in GitHub, there's GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot for Azure. Here we have Microsoft Copilot in Azure. You've got to love the marketing department's creativity with names. So let's see what this completion looks like. To retrieve machines, we can use an ARG query. I need more info. Okay, well, nothing wrong with that. We've got our vote controls. I do want to say, as a general rule, I can't speak for Microsoft officially, but I find that when you're working with an engineering team in a public or private preview, you get especially fast response. So please, I would submit to you, particularly when you get a bad response that you dislike. Here, it makes it pretty easy in the browser to send an issue in. When you're using over in the GitHub Copilot for Azure extension in Visual Studio Code, there when you thumbs down a completion, it actually kicks you into GitHub to file an honest-to-goodness issue. But those are paid attention to, and I don't want to submit a false dislike here. But honestly, I wish that it would have given me examples. It makes me think of, I'd love to have a system prompt to tuck in here so that GitHub, again, these product names, Microsoft Copilot in Azure knows exactly who I am and how I like feedback and what my development skills are, blah, blah, blah. I actually put a video here in my YouTube channel on that very subject. It's called something along the lines of use a system prompt to help GitHub Copilot help you better. Now, you'll notice that we get some suggested follow-up prompts here. In our case, we would say, in this case, the point is we don't know the regular expressions, but we can describe it. Let's just make a fictional thing here and say, our VMs are named according to the Microsoft well-architected framework guidelines. I'm going to test the GPT's knowledge of the Microsoft Azure well-architected framework. I'm going to say use that as a model and make up machine names. It's okay. So I'm giving some meta instructions to the AI to shape what I want it to do and how I want it to present that result for me. Well, I'm legitimately at the edge of my seat here, wondering what it's going to do. And I'm seeing, look at the feedback here. It's trying to generate an Azure Resource Graph query. I've noticed the same thing in GitHub Copilot, that in Azure integration. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shared development DNA going on. Again, I'm speculating, number one, and number two, I don't reveal NDA protected info. But so what happened here? Okay, all right. So based on the WAF, you can use the following ARG query. All right, I'm not Billy York here, so I can't look at this and just immediately know if it's hot garbage or wonderful. But check it out. We get a fairly decent, I think, explanation. We get a couple references to the WAF. And what I'm going to see right now is let's actually run this query in Azure Resource Graph Explorer and see if it comes back. Now that to me is an achievement unlock. What do you think? Where we can ask Copilot in Azure for some help, and it formulates some code for us that we can potentially run and or refactor right here from within the portal. I like that. Seriously. Now, I didn't get any results in this example because let me just quickly see what it is. Well, that actually doesn't have anything to do with regex. What in the world? Well, again, here, as you can tell, I'm very, very optimistic about generative AI to the point where I have to confess, as a human, I do have some AI tinted glasses on, just full disclosure. So I'm looking for the positive explanation. But, you know, honestly, this is a case where at first blush I thought cool, and now I'm thinking not cool because the model's not responding in any way that, frankly, that I can use. I'm confident if I were to hit Google Gemini or ChatGPT, or frankly, I could train a model in Microsoft Copilot Studio that'll give me a decent result. Yeah, so that's kind of disappointing. But at the same time, let's remember that we're so early days with Gen AI. We're learning as we go, very much how we did in the mid-90s with the World Wide Web and GeoCities and all of that good stuff. Fun fact, if you go to archive.org, you can find and download the entire GeoCities site archive. I'm actually going to take a look at that myself later today. I remember the archive not being absurdly large at all, which of course makes sense given all those assets were tiny, tiny to begin with. But back to business here. That is Copilot. I'm seriously pausing 3 seconds when I think of the product name. I would love if a marketing person from those groups, those product groups, hears me say with love and respect, if you've got products that may be competing, you don't want do you want your customers fumbling over the names? Maybe you do. Maybe there's some marketing psychology going on there. But at any rate, whatever this is called, Microsoft Copilot in Azure, this is what it looks like. And again, props to Microsoft for consistency, because you'll remember if we're in Bing or if I've got my browser set for that home page, you know what I'm trying to show you. Trying to show you the native integration with Copilot, with Microsoft Copilot. Here, I could have just done that. Or I could have hit this to bring out, this is really what I originally wanted to show, the integration in the browser, that we're seeing some consistency, which I really enjoy from Microsoft, in terms of turning to your Copilot companion in an intuitive, consistent way. And, you know, we even see it in the desktop apps. Before I close this lesson, let me open up PowerPoint. And as you can see, because I have Copilot Pro or Copilot for Microsoft 365, I've got in my slide view on the home ribbon tab an integration. And I don't think there's a mistake. I mean, frankly, if you were going to add a new icon to the ribbon, it would show up at the end. So maybe it's coincidentally, but frankly, I like to think optimistically that even here we have our Copilot control in a familiar known location. Now I say that, I'd bet you $100 next week we find that Copilot's now in the lower left. Because look at Copilot even in Windows 11. Let me invoke my taskbar here. Wait a minute. I don't even know if my system's frozen. There we go. Yeah, notice that I had just gotten used to clicking the little flag over here when it was closer to the start button. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I literally one day went to use Copilot in Windows 11, and I had to go searching for it because it had moved over here. And of course, I didn't get any tooltip or Microsoft Bob or Clippy popping on screen to tell me. It was pretty annoying, to be honest. That's not a user experience you want to foster. I think maybe I should shift my career towards a different kind of evangelism. That is IT to marketing. Idea. Let me write that down. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the end of this lesson. I hope you got some additional achievement unlocks. And like I said, make sure to get on the preview if you're interested. Catch you next time.